We are starting very shortly, guys. We're just sorting out something real quick, and then we will be all good. I'm just gonna listen to the stream real quick to see if the microphone quality is all right. Can't seem to find it myself. Pretty interesting. Now I can. So we will just be patiently waiting, and then we will be ready to go. Hello, 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 everyone. I've got some bad news. I've got some bad news. I've got to go. No, that's just a joke. Hold up. Making sure the hair is slick, you know. No, so I don't have to go. The thing is, I don't have my charts ready. So I don't have my documents ready, which is unfortunate. My sincere apologies for that. Just tag me in Discord, then I'll be notified. Perfect. But I don't have my documents ready. And the main reason for that is one, I had to leave very, very early this morning. It was 6 a.m. and I didn't have any time to do them. The second reason is I've been busy all day working at my new internship company. So that is going to be the second reason. The third reason, on the way back home on the bus, I would have been able to, but unfortunately, I had a colleague sitting next to me and she wanted to talk instead of being busy on the computer. And when I got home, it was 6:30, 6:45 actually. Then I had to make dinner, and yeah, that makes me have zero time to be able to prepare anything. As usually the charts take about 30 to 1 hour, 30 minutes to 1 hour, depends on the tracks and like all the information I still need to find. So my apologies for that. I'm gonna be just streaming as the lobby doesn't seem to be live yet. So we are just gonna be patiently waiting. I'm just gonna check out the stream real quick to see if the microphone quality is pretty good. Hopefully it is. And does that mean you won't be streaming the race? Yeah, of course I will. Of course I will. I just won't be doing my introduction like I usually do, unfortunately. But I will be streaming. Don't worry. All right, so I'm not too happy about the microphone quality, so I'm just gonna plug out and plug in my thingy again, and then it should be fixed. All right, I'm back. Test test 1 2 3 1 2 3 test test. This is gonna be the test. They just have to clip it whenever they want. Yeah. While we are waiting, I'm just gonna test out my microphone quality a little bit. Well, I've got nothing else to do anyway, so hopefully you guys don't mind. We're just gonna be listening to me testing the microphone, and then we will be streaming the race. So, yeah. All right, test, 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 test. This is Phoebe Thomas. Welcome, everyone. Seems to be all fine. If I talk right now, the quality should be pretty fine. If I'm gonna put it a little bit closer to my mouth, as that is usually the size, well, the length you want to have it away from your phone, not straightly in front of it, not to who wins tonight? Good question. I would say it's gonna be Calvin Racing. He has been pretty fine these last couple of races. Yeah, sorry guys. I'm just so obsessed sometimes with my microphone and how it sounds. Hopefully you guys don't mind the quality. So who wins the race? Who wins the race? I think, in my personal opinion, it's going to be Calvin Racing. He's just been so pretty darn well these last couple of races, and I do feel like he is supposed to be in Div 1. He's going to be racing in Div 2 tonight, which he has been racing for in the last couple of weeks already. So yeah, he didn't really have anyone battling with him. Maybe Mansell, who has been pretty well. Is there anyone else? Noldus has been pretty good. Mr. Wiggles has been pretty good too. Last week we saw a crazy strategy from that Wasp guy. I'm just gonna get his name up real quick. Mindful Wasp, yeah, he had a crazy strategy. So all props to him. Unfortunately, the last lap his tires gave up, and he had a flat tire, so he lost a lot of positions thanks to that. But apart from that, he was my driver of the day. He just went from last to first, and then unfortunately had that flat tire, and then it wasn't really working out for him, unfortunately. But yeah, he did a splendid job just staying on those intermediates for a very long time. So yeah, he did pretty well there, and hopefully he's going to be able to do the same tonight, but I'm not too sure if it's going to be raining or if it's going to be dry. Not too sure what we are actually waiting for, because it's already 12 minutes past the thingy. So I'm just gonna have a quick look. Mr. Wiggles, I do have to say, Mr. Wiggles is a good thing, a good bet, to be honest. He's been pretty amazing, pretty darn amazing, as I said earlier. Having some issues, going to be 5 minutes, probably. All right, so it's going to be 5 more minutes. I'm just gonna ask in the comms chat if I'm able to, if I'm allowed to test my microphone out. Waiting on Dan. Yeah, no worries, no worries. So I asked, are you talking about Dan? Apparently he is. So okay, I'm allowed to do some testing. He's updating. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay. So with Michael, or you know, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I have my boss, right? Well, the boss of my boss. His name is, well, it's spelled Michael, but EA, and A with a like a, what is it called? I don't know. It's like a whoop on the A. So Energy Dan is my pick to win this race. Interesting, interesting. So I have my boss, right? His name is, well, you spell it Michael with a thing on the A. You the first day I had to ask him something, and I didn't really know that guy. I haven't spoken to him in a while. I said Michael, right? So I said, Michael, can you help me with something? And everyone was laughing. It was like, why is everyone laughing? Like, what is funny about this? What am I doing wrong? Just tell me. And basically, his name is not Michael. His name is Mihal, right? Because it's, I don't know why. I do know why. It's a Irish name. Yeah, apostrophe. Yeah. No, not an apostrophe. Isn't an apostrophe like this? Or an apostrophe is like, yeah, that's that. But the apostrophe is like this, no? No, that's arrobas. I'm mixing French with English. So I said, Michael, can you help me with something? Everyone was laughing. Apparently it's Mihal, right? So you spell it like this. Hold up. Michael. All right, so this is how you spell it, right? So as a normal European guy, you would think that's Michael. Apparently it's Mihal. So yeah, that's what's up right there. Yeah, okay, so I'm just testing out the microphone. What do you guys think of the microphone quality? Do you think it's all right? Do you think it could be better? Do you think it could be worse? Just let me know, please, because otherwise, I mean, I'm so obsessed with it and I want it to be perfect, you know? I want it to be perfect. I bought a headset for 400 quid. I want it to be perfect, you know? And you might think, you might think this is not good quality for like a 400 quid headset. But think about it. Usually headsets are made to be, well, good quality, as in the audio. And the microphone is something extra. So this is a broadcast headset. And what a broadcast headset is, so basically it focuses on the audio, but it also puts a pretty decent, I'll stick to wiggle. So basically it is a pretty decent microphone they put in there, just so that the broadcasters are actually putting a pretty good performance in their audio. But I haven't been able to find the perfect thingy yet, so I don't actually know how to fix it, unfortunately. So yeah, it is what it is. This is gonna be my audio for now, so hopefully you guys don't mind it. It sounds fine to me, mate. Yeah, you know what it is, people say it's fine, but I don't think it is fine. Oh, we are starting. All right, here we go. We are starting. So I'm gonna be switching to this one, then I'm gonna be putting you guys here, and then I'm able to watch the screen while you guys are also able to watch the screen. Woohoo! Happy days for all of us. So we are gonna be talking about the Monza Grand Prix. You know, Monza has been there since 1950. So in all fairness, this is one of the oldest circuits out there, and in my opinion, it hasn't been changed that much. You know, like the S's have been there since the beginning of the track and all that kind of stuff. But there was a pretty big loop around the track where the guys, you have I don't know, I don't actually know where it was, but you do have that big loop. You might have seen some videos about it already on the internet, where you really had a really big bankered corner, and they used to race there. So it's a little bit like Zandvoort. Like, actually, if you think about it, Zandvoort is the old Monza. The Zandvoort from now is the old Monza from 1950. So, oh, it's going to be dry. All right, so it's going to be dry, which is always good. And it seems like we are also having a sprint, if I had it right, if I saw it right. I'm just going to make you guys hear the audio, of course, as that is one of the most important things. Is you want to hear the cars. You want to hear the cars. So best time, we don't need that. We do need the lap data, which is going to be there at the right top of your screen, which you guys won't be able to see, but I will, as the logo is right in front of it. So, all right, let's go on board with anyone else who is coming out of the track. That seems to be Mark QWERTY, who's going to be the first one. NFS to come out first. It is not NFS, it is Mark QWERTY, but NFS is in P2 or P3. I mean, second or third. And he is indeed going to be second with his teammate right behind. The McLaren drivers haven't been able to perform at the highest level these last couple of weeks, as of course they both were P19 and P20 or like last place, last race, and the race before they both had a DNF. Now, I don't know what is more depressing, both having a DNF or both finishing in the last place. In my opinion, it would be finishing both in the last place, because at least, I mean, you did try your best and you still can make it into the top, whatever it was. Towing is so crucial. Yes, indeed it is, especially here in Monza. You know, Monza, it is a very fast track. It is a track where you've got a lot of straight line speed. You don't have very slow corners. The only slow corner which is actually going to be there is turn 1 and 2 in sector 1, and then turn 3 is a long right-hander. Turn 4 and 5 is going to be a chicane, but not a really slow one. Then of course you've got turn 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10, which is going to be DS's, and then of course you've got turn 11, which is going to be the last corner of the track. Now we've got a Need for Speed coming into his first lap right now. He's got a little bit of traffic in front of him, but they're just coming out of the pit lane, as he's now taking the corner into turn 1, taking a lot of curb on the exit, which he actually doesn't. So it might have had a little bit of time off his time there. Doesn't touch too much curb on the inside there. does take a tight line, which is always great here in Monza. Now going into turn 4 and 5, brakes really early, doesn't take too much curb on the inside, which might have costed him a couple of tenths there. Now into turn 6 he goes, takes a lot of curb on the inside, a lot of curb on the exit. He doesn't take it, so he does not have good traction coming out of that corner. I feel like he's a little bit afraid of touching the curbs right now here in this first lap. I do have to say, the first lap is usually the one where you're going to be exploring the track if you didn't have any practice. And then, of course, you've got a turn 9, 10, as that is going to be one of the most difficult corner sections here on this track, as there is a high chance of crashing out, of course, due to tire overheating. You know, sector 1 is usually, sector 2 is usually the sector where you're going to be having a lot of tire overheating probability. So coming into sector 3, which is going to be that S section, you're going to be having overheated tires, and then there's a high chance of spinning out. A 121.2, this is definitely worth improving for the McLaren driver, as we're now on board with Calvin Racing, who's got the fastest first sector, as he does take a lot of curb on the exit off turn 5. Now into turn 6 along fast right-hander, as he's coming into turn 7, which is also going to be a fast right-hander. Both McLarens need to communicate. Yes, indeed they do, because they could have easily given each other a tow while they actually did not. We've got British Guy going really slow. Note that is NFS, as British Guy is still in sector 2, of course. Now Calvin Racing coming around the last corner in a couple of seconds, as the Englishman is hopefully going to put himself on pole, as it is going to be a sprint race tonight. It is going to be, let me have the quick think. How many laps is Monza usually? 72, it's 36 if I'm not mistaken. No, it's not 36. I'm not too sure how many laps Monza is actually. But Calvin Racing coming across the line to put the third fastest lap, a 120.3, as Mansell puts himself on P1, the Ferrari driver, back on top here in the qualifying. But of course he needs to prove himself in the sprint race too, to be able to put himself on pole. Of course, I don't know what is considered to pole here. Is it the one you get in qualifying, or is it the one you get in the sprint race? Or is that both pole? You know, you never know. You never know with the Formula 1. Energy Dan, we might want to focus on him, as he is coming around the last corner. The Mercedes driver hasn't been on a very good streak lately, as he's now coming across the line to put a 121.2. It's only going to be good for a P12, as we might want to go on board with British Guy, as we've got Oliver, of course, the brother of this little guy. And British Guy, I mean, he has had a pretty depressing couple of races. As I mentioned earlier, he disqualified, well, he DNF'd 2 races ago. He finished last race, so he really needs to get out of that dip here in Monza, as he only puts himself in P15 right behind his teammate, and they might need some luck from the safety car every now and then during the sprint race and the actual race. So Mindful Wasp hasn't been able to put a lap in yet. He also invalidated previous laps, so we might need to focus on someone else. Someone who has come out of the pits pretty recently. Maybe the Bear, although he is 2 tenths up on his time, so that is only going to be good for a 120.9. Maybe if he improves a little bit here in sector 2 and sector 3, but it doesn't look like it. And now he's going to drain out all of his CRS here down the straight, but he needs to make sure that he has plenty of spare coming out of turn 10, of course. Fastest second sector, as he is down by 1 second right now. A good comeback qualifying lap from the Aston Martin driver, as he's now coming down the last straight before the start-finish straight, of course, into turn 11. A difficult corner, a difficult section of the track, as you need to nail your braking point coming through that corner. And now coming through the last corner, of course, flat down the main straight, as he's coming across the line with a 1.710 improvement to put himself in P7 right now. 120.5. There's definitely a couple of tenths for grabs here during his next lap, as British Guy is improving by 6 tenths. This is going to be a pretty decent lap there. 121.2, only a couple of tenths away from the top 10, but of course not good enough to put himself in the top 10 tonight. Adams has just come out of the pit lane. He's in high gears, well, low gears actually, as he wants to use as much fuel as he can in order for him to make his car as light as possible. Coming down the main straight, I would call this the main straight if you ask me. This is going to be a good overtaking opportunity for you coming into turn 11. And hopefully he's going to be having a good exit coming out of turn 11, of course, because, I mean, the better exit you have coming out of turn 11, the faster you're going to be down the main straight, or down the start-finish straight, of course. Now he's coming across the line, and hopefully, let's have a quick look with the onboard. He's going to be able to improve here. The Alpine driver, because I'm not 100% sure what his results were these last couple of races, but it seems like he's taking turn 1 and turn 2 beautifully there. Takes a little bit of curb, has a little bit of a snap in order to rotate his car there. But you do need a lot of curb on the entry to rotate your car through turn 1 and turn 2, because on Monza you're going to be running low wings, right? So you want to use those curbs as much as possible for your car to rotate, because with low wings, of course, your car isn't going to rotate. And that's what you want to do here in Monza. Touch as many curbs as you can, but don't touch too many, as that will make you lose a little bit of time through the corners. So it depends on what setup you're running. Usually these guys are running 0-0 wings, as that will make you flying down the straights. But of course, the guys who are not using 0-0 wings will be a little bit faster down the corners, well, through the corners, and then they will be losing a little bit of time down the straight. So I do think using low wings here in Monza is the best way to go, as Adams is now coming into turn 11, takes a lot of curb down the entry. That is beautifully taken by the Alpine driver coming down the main straight right now. What is his time going to be? Definitely a 120, as it is going to be a 120.9, which will put him in P10 in the top 10, which is not a bad result. A Need for Speed is also on the lap, 6/10s down on his previous time, and that will be a top 10 position for the McLaren driver, 120.7, as that is definitely not going to be a bad lap. 1/10 of an improvement for the Red Bull driver coming into Sector 2, and he might be able to get into the top 10 too, as Need for Speed definitely gain a little bit of time in Sector 3 here, and maybe Aceman is going to be able to do that too. I did see Aceman join another league, which I am in. I think he has joined Formula 1 Racing League, but I'm not 100% sure. 4/10 of an improvement for the Red Bull driver, and it seems like he's doing pretty well through this S Section 2. So this might be a good top 10, maybe even a top 8 position for the Red Bull driver, as he was up by 4/10, and that will put him provisionally in a P9. So let's have a quick look where he's going to put himself, as he doesn't take a tight line through that corner, which we do see a lot of guys do. 3.5 of an improvement is good enough for the top 10, but not quite there yet. We've got Calvin Racing in P5, Bossy Gaming, who just came across the line. It was a McLaren and it was a Red Bull. I did see some changes here. I didn't see who it was actually. Doesn't really matter too much. Energy Dan is on a fast lap, up by 1/10, actually down by 1/10. I'm not too sure. Is up that you're improving, or is down that you're improving? I think it's down, right? Doesn't really matter. He's got a little bit of traffic right in front of him. It's the AlphaTauri car who's going into the gravel. So well done by the AlphaTauri car. Probably that is gonna be the V car, as he is only on an outlap, so he can clean his tires during that Sector 3 section, which is gonna come through. 4/10 of an improvement for Energy Dan. That will provisionally put him in P12. But maybe he can improve a little bit more here in Sector 3. He's got a little bit of a toe, although I do think he's a little bit too far ahead of the Williams driver. But let's have a quick look what Energy Dan is going to do. He doesn't take a tight line through that corner. He does have to go straight right now, and this will be a 120.3, a P5 for the Mercedes driver, as that is going to be a 9/10 improvement for Energy Dan. Beautifully done there by the Mercedes driver, as Aceman is going to come into the pits. What is the Bear going to do? 2/10 of an improvement that will provisionally put him in P8, right in front of Mr. Wiggles, maybe right in front of Bossy Gaming, as he needs to improve a little bit more here in Sector 2 and Sector 3. He's got that Haas driver right behind him. And what is the Bear going to do? A little bit of curb on the entry will give him a little bit more speed. And yes, indeed, he does. There he goes. He needs to watch out. He has a little bit of a snappy rear there. But it seems like he's taking care of this quite nicely. There goes the Aston Martin car as he's entering turn 11 right now. Will this be a pole time? I don't think so. He has to improve by almost 8/10 to be able to do that. He takes a lot of curb on the exit there. Might have not been the best choice. And this is going to be a 120.0 of 5/10 improvement, as that will place himself in P4. Beautifully done there by the Bear. So you might want to focus on the V car, who was also on a fast lap. Is he up by any tenths? Yes, indeed he is. He is actually down by 5 tenths, which is an improvement of 5 tenths. And he touches the curb there on the entry, almost slipped away. But luckily he's going to be able to improve. I do think so. Nolder's now with the fastest lap of 119.6, and there's only 5 more minutes on the time clock. So everyone who wants to put one more lap in has to come into the pits as soon as possible. The V car will still be able to put another lap in if he comes across the line, of course. 6 tenths of an improvement for the V car, which is not really what we had hoped for. And Calvin Racing with a surprising P9. He is improving by 5 tenths though, so this is possibly going to be a top 4 position, a top 2 position for the Alfa Romeo car, which is going to be a 119.7. Beautifully done there by Calvin Racing. We might want to focus on Keith LUFC right now, as the Williams driver is currently in P16. He's not going to be able to improve, so he might need to come into the pits as soon as possible in order to improve a little bit here. He does have to come into the pits, switch over to new soft tires, and then of course come out again. What is the Vicar going to be doing? He is not going to be improving. Everyone who seems to be in the pit lane is going to be switching to soft tires, of course, as I didn't have any issues with my Wi-Fi yet. Fingers crossed that is not going to come later during the sprint race or the race, as it seems like everyone is in the pits. Indeed, Adams maybe is on a fast lap. Yes, indeed he is, and he's got some guys right in front of him, and is the Alpine driver. Oh, beautiful line there through that corner. I might want to have a quick water sip real quick, and then we will be ready to go again. He's down by 1.6 tenths, so that is beautifully done there from Adams, as the Alpine driver is going to touch a little bit of the curb there, not too much. And then in turn 7, of course, a tricky corner to nail, because if you overshoot that corner, if you've got a little bit of understeer, you're going to end up in the gravel, and that's of course not something you want to happen as a racing driver. Now coming into turn 9, 10, 8, 9, and 10, as he touches a lot of curb on the entry there. In turn 9, they tend to not take too much curb on the entry, as there's a big chance of you spinning out if you touch turn 9, of course. And then turn 10, they take as much curb as possible. Into turn 11, take a tight line through this corner, which actually nobody seems to be doing. So this is maybe where they tend to lose a little bit of time. 6 tenths of an improvement, only good for a P8, as the times are really close again. We are seeing a 16 thousandths of a difference between P2 and P4. We've got a 500ths difference between P1 and P2. We've got a 1/10 difference between P5 and P6. A half a tenth difference between P7 and P10, actually. P11, if you think about it. And then of course a couple of tenths between P12, P13, P14, P15, P16. And then we've got British guy in P17, who is gonna be a little bit behind together with Mark Querty. Mindful Wasp, who hasn't been able to put a lap in yet, he's gonna go for his only one here, as it seems like my mom yeah, so I have to call my mom later, as they probably arrived with the boat in Belgium back again. As Mindful Wasp, 5-second time penalty, 5th place grid penalty for Matt G. He was only in P13, but it seems like he had an issue with Energy Dan, who is on an outlap though. As we're currently on board with Mindful Wasp, we might want to go back to this view, as that is going to be the best view to watch a qualifying on, and also a race. Noldo seems to be comfortable here. Or maybe he crashed out. It doesn't look like it. He is in the pit lane. That is going to be pole for now. Mindful Wasp invalidates his lap, as unfortunately he isn't going to be able to put a qualifying lap. Although maybe he still has 1.5 minutes. So this is going to be his last chance to put a good lap in. Mansell. No, it's going to be British guy who puts himself in P5. Good lap from the McLaren driver. And what is Mansell going to do? He crashed out, so this is not going to be an improvement for the Ferrari driver. And we might want to focus on Mr. Wiggles, who is up by 3 tenths. as that is probably his previous lap, so he's not going to go for another one. Energy Dan warming up his tires. He does he have enough time to come across the line again? He's not improving by anything. 1.8 seconds slower than his previous lap. As the only one to watch right now is Mindful Wasp. He hasn't been able to put a lap in yet. I mean, the Mercedes driver, he tends to be a pretty fast driver during the race and not really having the qualifying pace, so his setups might be based on race pace and not really on qualifying pace. Because, you know, being fast in the qualifying is one thing, but being fast in the race is a whole other thing. And you've got some guys who are fast during the qualifying, but they have to be fast during the race too. As we're now on board with Mindful Wasp, who's coming down the main straight. And is he going to be able to improve? I'm not 100% sure. I mean, he's going to be improving anyway. But will he be getting into the top 10? His teammate is only in P13, and I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to improve. It's Mindful Wasp. Oh, the McLaren goes against the wall. And Mindful Wasp comes into the pits. Did he have a qualifying ban? Did he have a qualifying ban? That would be interesting. Might want to drive on board with Energy Dan. Maybe Calvin Racing. You know, Calvin Racing coming around turn 11 right now. He's not improving by anything, so this is not gonna be a better lap from the Alfa Romeo driver. He still comes across the line, as it is gonna be a 1:20.0. Is anyone else gonna be able to improve? He has put himself in P5, a pretty unexpected result. Mr. Wiggles gets pushed back all the way to P11. So, Michael, you're seeing Mr. Wiggles in P11, which is not great. Energy Dan isn't going to be able to improve, as that seems to be the end of the qualifying here. Everyone is coming into the pits, and that is going to be your qualifying over. So I will just be back in a minute, as I'm just going to show you guys the standings, and you will be able to see that for yourself, of course. So we will be right back, as I'm just going to call my mom real quick. All right, guys. We are back at it again, and welcome. Thank you for your patience, as I was testing out some things, and the Wi-Fi. The Wi-Fi has been good. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All right, so we are going to be having 5 red lights here in this sprint race, and hopefully everything is going to be running smooth through turn 1. It's going to be 9 laps and a drive-through penalty for Need for Speed, who has a good lap here, who has a good start, actually. There's a little bit of lag already, as we've got Calvin Racing trying to make a move down the inside, and he does indeed overshoots a little bit as the Williams driver tries to avoid any incidents from happening. Utkarsh is in P3, we've got the Bear in P4 and Boss Gaming in P5. We've got a little bit of carnage at the back of the grid there. So you might want to see who has lost the most positions. It is going to be Doran. And once again, a bad start of the race for Energy Dan. It seems like Surge and Mansell are having a heated battle here. Surge, who has gained 2 positions. Mansell, who's lost 3, unfortunately. He started in P3, currently in P6. The biggest winner of the evening is going to be Need for Speed. But of course, he has got a drive-through penalty. Is anyone pretty close? Yes, indeed. Noldus, we've got a guy out. It is going to be British guy, and that is going to be the first safety car of the evening already. And there's probably many more to come. Yes. Yeah, it's always chaos in Monza. Yeah, I was just testing out the quality of the stream, guys. My apologies. Yeah, the quality is pretty good. I'm quite satisfied with it. So, is anyone going to come into the pits? I do think everyone is running mediums, aren't they? They would be able to go for soft tires. Oh, there's actually a lot of people using softs at the moment. Actually, everyone is. Except for a couple. I mean, 4 people are running medium tires. So that is going to be Utkars, The Bear, Doran, and Mindful Wasp. And I do tend to say that the tire overheating probability is quite high here. So I'm not 100% sure why the guys are choosing softs. But this could indicate that they're going for softs, mediums at the end of the race. Well, at the actual race, the 50% race. As I do remember now, it's going to be 27 laps. As there is, of course, 9 laps of sprint race. It's always 1/3. So 9 times 3 is going to be 27, of course. And I do have to say, I think this is going to be an exciting race. The guys are all pretty close to each other. And the closer you are in Monza, the better racing you've got, of course. You will be able to make a move into turn 1, into turn 5, into turn... Well, into turn 4, into turn 6 sometimes, into turn 7 sometimes, maybe even into turn 8. But usually if you make a move into turn 8, which is going to be the beginning of the S section, it's not going to end up well. And I don't advise anyone to go... Well, to make a move into turn 1. Now, we might want to go on board with Matt G, as he is currently in P11, only a couple of tenths behind. But we've got someone being out of the race. That is going to be Need for Speed. Because I'm not too sure if he's actually racing right now. Is he actually racing? I don't know. He's not weaving his car or anything. Yeah, I do think he's racing. Yeah, I do think he's racing. But he is ghosted, so I'm not too sure what's up with that. Might be because he has a drive-through penalty, but he's not able to serve that drive-through penalty during the safety car. So definitely don't come in yet, Need for Speed. As we do see a couple of guys coming into the pits when they have a drive-through penalty when it's a safety car. So that isn't the best way to do it, because you won't be able to serve your drive-through and you've just come into the pits for nothing. That is going to be the case sometimes. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to be a leak where the drivers are going to be doing. He is racing apparently. Okay, thank you, Oliver. Are you in a call with them by any chance? I have a feeling you are. But British guy is out already. This is going to be another disaster for the McLaren team, as British guy is going to be all the way at the back of the grid. I'm just going to have a quick look with the standings real quick, as we might want to be able to... Well, we might be able to show that. Well, not really show that, but talk about it with you guys. As the winner of last week, I think, was the V car, if I'm not mistaken. Let me have a quick look. So, Division 2, where's Division 2? Here's Division 2. Is everyone right behind each other? Yes, indeed they are. So, the winner from last week was... the V car. Yes, indeed. I was right. Wow. I'm literally right beside him. Okay, fair enough. You're right beside Need for Speed or right beside British guy? Doesn't really matter. So the top 3 of last week, I can't really see it, to be honest. This is really annoying. 20, 22, 22. Who was 22? Was it Mr... Yeah, probably Mr. Wiggles, who was P2, and then we had Surge in P3, and then Mindful Wasp, he just got dropped back that many positions. So it's so unfortunate. But we've got many exciting laps to come. Well, to come, yes, indeed. And Utkars is going to be the first one on the mediums, and the first driver on the soft is going to be Calvin Racing, who's going to be leading this safety car restart. So hopefully he's going to be able to put a good and a safe safety car restart, because usually the guys tend to go really late here in Monza, which is always causing chaos, because coming out of turn 11 people think you're going to be going full throttle, but you actually aren't. And he's going underway already, so it's going to be green flags and go as they're coming into turn 4 out of the 9 right now of the sprint race here in Monza. And he's got a little bit of a lead, a 6/10 lead for the Alfa Romeo driver, as it seems like there's a couple of guys coming into the pits now. That is going to be Need for Speed, of course, as he has that drive-through penalty. Adams is going to be making a move down the inside of Matt G, backside of the move, as he didn't have enough brake pressure, it seems like there, as the Red Bull driver outbraked the Alpine driver. Now Aceman has a 3-second time penalty, and Noldes is pretty close to Utkars. He dropped back a couple of positions quite early in this race, already lost 2. This takes a lot of curb on the entry there. Bossy Gaming with a 3-second time penalty, as he is going to be in P5, drops back all the way to P6. Did he crash out? P7 for the Haas driver right now, but we are on board with Noldes, who is in P3, trying to chase down that P2 position, which actually belongs to him. Actually, P1 belongs to him, but I don't think that is going to be going pretty well for him, as Calvin Racing is already making up a gap of 1 second. So the Williams driver, being pretty close to the Haas driver, is going to have a good exit coming out of this corner, and he's going to have a little bit of slipstream, but I'm not too sure if it's going to be enough. Does have a lot of straight line speed, so this might be a P2 in the next upcoming lap, as the guys will have DRS coming into turn lap 6. As of course they're coming into lap 5 right now, pretty close to the Haas driver, right on his tail. And will he be able to make that move? He's going around the outside right now. Fastest lap for the Williams driver, but it will not be enough for Noldes. The Haas driver has a little bit of more straight line speed, and Mansell goes down the inside into turn 1. They're going side by side, leaving enough space for each other, as that is beautifully done by Mansell. And the Bear now retakes P4, as that is going to be the Bear dropping back 1 position. Mansell made up a position which he lost previously, and the Bear is looking to make a move down the inside, but it's not going to be working through there, as it wasn't alongside him. Especially into turn 4, you need to be alongside someone to be able to make that move. The Haas driver, the Ferrari driver, actually right behind the Williams driver right now, as that is going to be the Mr. Wiggles and Keith in a heated battle in lap 5 here in Monza. It is only going to be a sprint race, guys, so make sure you know that. Adams is out of the race. He retired from the session, and that is going to be another safety car here in Monza, and that promises for the actual race. How many safety cars are we going to be seeing during those 27 laps, as we're only 5 laps into the sprint race and we already had 2 safety cars? So that is going to be a little bit unfortunate, but this is good news for Calvin Racing, as he is keeping his leader, well, his P1 in the race right now. And as I said, I do think he's going to be winning this race. He's been on a pretty good streak lately, as we might want to have a quick look where he finished last week. Did he actually attend though? Calvin Racing, there he is. He got 14 points, so I do think that is gonna be a P5 if I'm not mistaken. No, it's a P6 actually. No, a P7. A P7 that is. As P5 gets 16 points, P4 gets 15 points, and P6 gets 15 points, and P7 gets 14 points. So that is going to be 14 points for Calvin Racing. And let's have a quick look who has been on the best streak lately. For what it looks like, it has been Calvin Racing, but also Mr. Wiggles has been on a pretty decent streak. And then, of course, we have got the V-Car, who is currently in P2 in the Drivers' Championship. We might want to have a quick look at the total points in the Drivers' Championship, because we've got Serge with a comfortable lead. He's got 2 wins already, 7 podiums out of the 14 races we've done already, or 15 races. I'm not too sure which race this is, but he's had 7 podiums. Then we've got the V-Car with 1 race win, 3 podiums, trailing by about 33 points. And we've got Energy Dan trailing by 14 points to the V-Car. He's got 2 podiums and no wins. as he doesn't have a single penalty point. Neither does the V-Car, and Serge has 4 penalty points already, so he needs to watch out that he doesn't catch many penalty points here during the next couple of races. That we've got Utcars in P4 and Mad G in P5. The guys who I think are going to be having a good season, although they did join later during the season, are going to be Mansell, Calvin Racing, Mindful Wasp. I'm not too sure if he has been there lately, but he had a couple of DNSs, which is going to be did not start, of course, but he's had P11, no, 11 points, 12 points, which is going to be like a P9, a P10, which is not too bad if you think about it, especially when you've got 19, 20 people each race. And you know, these guys, they have been battling pretty cleanly there. And I'm just gonna have a quick look in the Discord, as I'm just gonna text someone that I will be on a little bit later. I'm gonna play FIFA later, so I just have to let them know. Alright, so they're now currently entering lap 7 out of 9, and I might want to blow my nose real quick, so I will shut down the microphone real quick so you guys don't get any ear rapes. Alright, so the safety car seems to be coming in, as that will be green flags and go, go, go in a couple of seconds. As of course we need to patiently wait, as it is going to be Calvin Racing going again. Will he go for the same strategy which he used to earlier? And we might want to have a quick look with Need for Speed, as hopefully he's going to be able to gain a couple of positions. And the biggest winner of the sprint race again is going to be a Mindful Wasp. He has gained 8 positions starting from the back of the grid. Mr. Wiggles with a 5-second time penalty, severe collision with Keed. And when is Mindful Wasp? No, Calvin Racing gonna go. He's gonna go right now. Utkar's got caught sleeping a little bit there, as Noldus is right on the tail of the Haas driver. What is it looking like at the back of the grid here? We've got Mindful Wasp on the tail of Mad G. He is really, really close. He's got the straight line speed. He's got the slipstream. He will be using a little bit of ERS, but it won't be enough to overtake the Red Bull driver. He might throw it down the inside. 3 wide. He's going for the outside line, as Mad G is looking to make a move down the inside of the Ferrari driver right there. With a good exit from Mindful Wasp, he might be able to make 2 overtakes at once. Is he going to be able to? He's going around the outside. This will be 3 wide through turn 3, that is, as he is going to be overtaking the Ferrari driver. Mr. Wiggles loses 2 positions in once. And what is Mindful Wasp going to do? Is he going to keep a P10? Yes, indeed he is. Although Mr. Wiggles is right around the outside. Mr. Wiggles touches the curb on the inside. And that is going to be moved on for Mindful Wasp. Now, his next target is going to be Mad G, which he already had a battle with. And Aceman drops back all the way to P17. Need for Speed is still right behind the back of the group. And what is it looking like up front? SFR, the Bear, right behind the Ferrari driver, as we do have a couple of penalties. Bossy Gaming with a 3-second time penalty. So does Mr. Wiggles, and so does Aceman. So does Surge, who's currently in a P6, possibly going to be losing a couple of positions. 1 to Keed, 1 to Mindful Wasp, and 1 to Mad G. And we've got the Ferrari driver looking to make a move down the inside into turn 11 of Mad G. Bossy Gaming crashes out, as he is going to be all the way at the back of the grid right now. Mindful Wasp makes that move on Keith. Keith losing 2 positions at once, as Mad G is looking to make a move down the inside of Mindful Wasp. Is he going to? Yes, indeed he is. Had a little bit of a back off, as it is going to be a 4-way battle, a 3-way battle into turn 1. Is this going to be clean? Yes, indeed he is. Nobody touches each other, although the Williams driver goes onto the curb a little bit too much. The Red Bull driver comes out on top, as that will be Mr. Wiggles losing another position. 1-2 Energy down right there. And the biggest winner of the evening, well, the biggest team of the evening, is going to be Mercedes at the moment, as it is going to be three positions gained for Energy Dan and 12 for Mindful Wasp, with once again another amazing race. Keith and Matt G, who are having a battle, as Matt G going to lose another position. No, he isn't. Yes, he is. Energy Dan looking to make a move into turn 6. They touch each other, they collide, but it is not going to be anyone out of the race, as it is going to be a pretty feisty battle here between the Red Bull and the Mercedes driver. Energy Dan now going around the outside into turn 8, and that is indeed going to be moved on for Energy Dan. Mr. Wiggles trying to make a move into turn 8 on the Mercedes driver. Is he going to? No, he isn't. He needs to patiently wait, because with a good exit coming out of turn 10, he might be able to make that move into turn 11. Let's have a quick look with Mr. Wiggles. He's going around the outside. Is the Ferrari driver going to be able to do it? I'm not 100% sure. He is indeed, but is Energy Dan going to give up? He is not going to, but that will be a P9. He's going too wide. He's going too wide. The Ferrari driver loses 3 positions. 1 to the Red Bull, 1 to the Mercedes. And who's going to come out on top? It is going to be, oh, Mr. Wiggles drops back all the way to P15. And it seems like it's going to be Energy Dan running away with the P8. Beautifully done there by Energy Dan, keeping it mostly clean. And Matt G, congratulations for keeping it clean too. Now, driver of the day is going to be Mindful Wasp, who has ended in P7 or P6. I'm not 100% sure. I need to get my camera away here, and then you guys will be able to see the standings. So this is going to be the standings, the results of the sprint race. Calvin Racing in P1, Utkar's in P2, Anoldus in P3, Mansell in P4, the Bear in P5, a Mindful Wasp actually got a P6 coming all the way from P19, Search in P7, who has dropped 1 or 2 positions due to his 3-second time penalty, Keith in P8, Energy Dan in P9, and Maggie in P10. Further, we've got the V-Car, Doran, and Need for Speed, Mark Querty, Wiggles, Aceman, a Bossy, Adams, and a British guy. Once again, a poor result from the McLaren team, and also a pretty poor result from the Red Bull team. What did the Haas team do? We've got 1 driver in P2 and 1 driver all the way at the back of the grid, as it is quite... there are different teams, you know. You've got teams who have 2 good drivers, you've got teams which have 1 good driver, 1 bad driver, you've got teams which have 2 bad drivers, you know. It's kind of not balanced, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to show myself again, as it is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's quite important to see me, but otherwise it wouldn't be here, if you know what I mean. So, just taking a quick sip of water here, as I need to keep myself hydrated. Very important, if you're talking a lot, you need to drink every now and then, as I'm going to be listening to the stream once again, so I will be right back with you guys. Alright guys, and we're back at it again. It is going to be 5 red lights here in Monza to start this Grand Prix. A beautiful start there from the Red Bull at the back of the grid. And Utkar's now takes the lead. Is it going to be Noldus making a move down the inside? Yes, indeed, he does. Calvin Racing, who's going to come out on top? It seems to be Utkar's, but who's going to be taking P2? It is going to be Noldus, as Calvin Racing loses 2 positions. Mansell in P3, in P4, my apologies. And then we've got the Bear right behind Mindful Wasp, who now takes the move, takes P5 here on the Aston Martin driver. So Mindful Wasp actually with a pretty good comeback race also on those medium tires, as we might want to have a quick look on the tires later. And Mindful Wasp looking to make him another move on Mansell here, as the Ferrari driver is currently in P4, 2 tenths behind the Alfa Romeo driver, but it is going to be Mindful Wasp. Mindful Wasp with the straight line speed. Is he going to be able to make that move? I don't think so. Look at that straight line speed from Mansell. Calvin Racing now in P2, as it is Good Cars running away, as he's probably on those soft tires already. So a pretty decent start we had right there. Nobody is out in turn 1, which is always a great story here around Monza. Now Mansell with his straight line speed, he's looking to make 2 moves, but he's only able to make 1 work, 1 on Noldus. And maybe with the straight line speed here down the start finish rate, he might be able to make a move on Calvin Racing. Utkars, who is actually on medium tires. Quite a surprising result. What is Mansell going to do? He's going to be able to outbrake the Alfa Romeo driver though, as he is on soft tires. Need for Speed is out of the race, and he is drifting. Oh, Ferrari driver touches a little bit of the inside of the Alfa Romeo driver there. And Noldus, who is on the hard tires, gets a 5-second time penalty, and they're all going pretty slow here. But there is no safety car yet. A Need for Speed who already crashes out here in the first lap out of this Grand Prix. We still have 26 to come. Let's have a quick look at what is happening here between Mark Werty and Aceman. Aceman, who is going past the AlphaTauri driver again. And Utkars, he's got a 1.6 second lead right now on P2. So quite a comfortable lead, I do have to say, coming into lap 2. As there is going to be a virtual safety car for now, but how long will that last? Probably not too long, as Mindful Wasp is waiting to make that move on Noldus. And yes, indeed, he's going to. Not in turn 8 yet, although he's alongside the Williams driver, and he's going for it. He's going for it. He's got a lot of curb down the entry, and he needs to watch out there. Thank you, Martin. Oh, there's a lot of chaos at the back of the grid. I think someone crashed out. That is going to be British guy, and 2 DNFs for the McLaren team once again. Mindful Wasp takes that P4, and that is going to be that. So British guy and Need for Speed all the way at the back of the grid. Are you enjoying the race with Guinness? No, dude, I'm actually not a drinker. I don't drink alcohol, so it's going to be with a Coke, with a little Coke. The V-car, 5-second time penalty, ignoring yellow flags. I do have to say, everyone likes Guinness here. Like, nobody drinks another beer. Like, everybody drinks Guinness. It's crazy. But for now, I mean, I like the city, I like the people. The people are very nice. That is the most positive thing I can say about Ireland. Everyone is so fucking friendly. Call yourself a darts player. No, you know what it is. I'm a darts player who doesn't drink. I'm probably the only one, but yeah. That's why I'm bad at playing darts, you know. Every darts player, you know, you actually know why they drink beer while they play darts. Legends say that dart players drink beer to help them from the shivers. So when they're shivering, like when they're holding their arrows, sometimes they're shivering, and the beer helps them against shivering. So that is the main reason why they drink beer. Well, also because they probably like it, but back in the days, that's why it has been in the sport for that long. I mean, I've been told. So how is everyone doing in the chat? It's been a pretty chaotic race already. I think this is the 3rd safety car, if I'm not... Nerves. What did I say? Oh, shivers. Yeah. It's the shivers, right? Yeah, the nerves. It's all the same. Like, they get the shivers from the nerves. It's all the same. Martin, do you play darts? Who's your favorite dart player? Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Weren't you actually Irish, Martin? I thought you were, right? I thought you were. I'm not 100% sure, but I thought you were. But I mean, a lot of guys who I ask what their favorite favorite dart player is, nobody can answer because nobody watches darts. And then I'm like, oh yeah, we were talking about darts, but you still don't know who's your favorite dart player, right? So I'm just waiting for a response from Martin. You know what the annoy Barneveld? Wow, that is a response I've never heard. Probably my favorite all time. Yeah, I get that. I get that. He was, back in his days, he was really, really great. Like all time the best darter obviously is Phil Taylor, right? But Van Barneveld, I feel like as a 5-time champion during the era of Phil Taylor, I mean, not really during the era of Phil Taylor, but kind of that era, right? He's done surprisingly well. And yeah, I have to give him that. He has performed really, really well. I would say, you know, as a player, I've got a lot of different like favorites, and for multiple reasons. So I would say my favorite dart player overall is Michael Smith. I just like I like his personality. I like how he throws. I like how sportsmanship like he is. I like everything he does. I like the tourneys he wins, everything. I like his arrows. I like everything. I like his appearance. Like, that is something I cannot discuss about. Like, I cannot argue about that. But there's like dart players who I kind of find overall, like in every category, Michael Smith takes the upper hand. But if you would just Taylor definitely up there. Just Barneveld was my area. Yes, Smith is a proper talent. Yes, indeed. But you know, like on average, Michael Smith is the best, right? But in every category separately, there is like a dart player who's a little bit better. For example, the dart player who is the most friendliest on the tour ever is Clayton. He is just the sunshine on the tour and all that kind of stuff. He just laughs with everything. He jokes around with everything. He makes everyone laugh, and he's just a good vibe. He's a good sport. Then the dart player who has the most, like, who's never giving up is probably Aspinall. He never gives up. That guy is crazy. And then the guy with the nicest throw is gonna be Gary Anderson. And it's like all these little things. A 5-second time penalty for Aceman, as we're gonna be going underway pretty soon. Mansell takes B2 from Calvin Racing right there. And let's have a quick look who is going to be having a pretty decent start here. Utkarsh is going to be going underway, but when is he going to go? Warming up his tires, which is not the way to warm up your tires. I might want to make a video on that and then show it to every one of you. But Utkarsh is now leading the safety car restart, and it's going to be green flag saying go, go, go. Mindful Wasp on the tail of Calvin Racing. And this might be the opportunity for the Mercedes driver to get it into the top 3. Down the inside he goes off Calvin Racing. Beautifully done there from Mindful Wasp. Broke at the right time. Now is going to have a better exit, as he has a little bit of a touch there with Calvin Racing. Doesn't leave the space and doesn't give back that position. The Bear now right behind Mindful Wasp, as there is 600ths of a difference. Bear going around the outside, but Mindful Wasp not leaving too much space, as he's going to be having an awkward line here. The Bear might be able to make a move into turn 6, but he's not going to. He's going to back out of it. So Mindful Wasp now takes that top 3 position. Mansell on the tail of Utkarsh. And I do have to say, Utkarsh, who had a lead of about 1.6 seconds, now is right in front of Mansell. He's not too far away. Energy Dan right behind Noldus, as Noldus didn't have the race he has hoped for. He qualified in P1 and unfortunately dropped back to P6, as he's probably had a track warning right there. So you might want to focus to someone else here at the back of the grid, as the guys are pretty close to each other. Mr. Wiggles in P15 behind Mad G. Lost a lot of positions since his qualifying, as Keith is now making a move around the outside of Bossy Gaming. They're still going side by side into turn 11, as that will be Bossy Gaming down the inside, but Keith has the hard tires. As the Bear now made that move on Mindful Wasp here, he's got to be happy. And Calvin Racing is looking to make a move around the outside. He's going way too deep. Misbraked his braking point. And now is going to smash all the thingies. Will he get a 5-second time penalty for that? A 3-second time penalty, actually. But he did lose a lot of time, so he might be able to get that removed. We're already in lap 7 out of 27. As he dropped back all the way from P5 to P8 right now. Energy Dan and his teammate, Mindful Wasp, in P4 and P5. Beautiful result there from the Mercedes team. As Mansell is still sticking to the tail of Utkarsh here. The Ferrari driver 5/10s behind the Haas driver. And will he be able to make that move? I'm not 100% sure. Aceman on the tail of Calvin Racing. As this hasn't been the race that Calvin Racing has been hoping for. Mr. Wiggles in the grass. He had a collision, I think, with Adams. I'm not 100% sure. So we might want to focus on Mansell again as he's on the tail of Utkarsh. I'm just going to read the chat real quick, guys. Yeah, that's indeed true, Martin. I mean, he is an amazing guy. He can switch to the triple 19 like no other. Mansell now around the outside of Utkarsh, and that is going to be a P1 for the Ferrari driver. But let's have a quick look at the tires real quick. Soft tires for Mansell, so this makes sense why he can make that move on Utkarsh that easy, although it was on the straights though. Noldus, who is on the hard tire, so he possibly will have the better tire at the end of the race. Hard tires for Serge, hard tires for Keith, hard tires for Mark Werty, hard tires for Matt G and Mr. Wiggles. Then we've got soft tires for Aceman, who is already coming into the pits. So the guys on the hard tires might be going on to the medium tires at the end of the race, or maybe on the soft tires. Energy Dan, who's having a heated battle with Noldus now, and who's going to make it out on top. Serge looking to make a move down the inside of Noldus here, and it seems like he's going to be able to make that move work. Takes a lot of curb on the exit as he kind of squeezes the Williams driver away from that position. Ooh, Calvin Racing, who's sliding through turn 7 right there, as they're now entering sector 3. Calvin Racing. Why are they? I'm not too sure. Bossy Gaming into P10 as he's going to be right behind Keith here. And what is Doran going to be able to do? He's not going to be able to do anything. Let's have a quick look with Noldus here, who's right behind Serge. Yeah, indeed. Indeed. But I'm not 100% sure if that's going to be worth it, to be honest, going on to the hard tires, because you will be so slow at the end of the race. So when is Mansell actually going to come into the pits? Bossy Gaming in P10. Bossy Gaming in P10. He's going to be right behind Keith, but not close enough. Serge makes that move around the outside of Energy Dan, but he fights back. The Mercedes driver fights back. And is he going to be able to get that position from the Alpine driver? Yes, indeed he is. And what is Calvin Racing going to do? He makes up that position to Bossy Gaming again, although Bossy Gaming wasn't close, so I think I've mistaken him for someone else. Serge. He's looking to make a move into turn 5, although he's not going to be able to. And this is now going to be a Noldus in P7. What a depressing result from the Williams driver, qualified in P1. Unfortunately, currently in P7. In all honesty, I think the guys on the soft tires are looking the best right now. Or maybe the medium tires and hoping for a late safety car. Maybe the hard tires hoping for a late safety car. I think that would be the best strategy to go for right now, as not many people have come into the pits yet. I think the guys on the hard tires are going to be, well, the guys who have already come into the pits, of course. Serge now looking to make a move down the inside. The move, well, the room is not there, as he has to be happy with a P6 right now. When under medium tires going to come in, Energy Dan has got the benefit right now, but how long will he be having this benefit for? Not too long, as Serge is looking to make a move down the inside there. Beautifully done by Serge, although it is down the main straight. Though we've got Noldus looking to make a move. He's not going to go for it. Energy Dan with a deep dive bomb as he's having the outside line right now. Will he have the better traction? Yes, indeed he does. And there goes Energy Dan back behind his teammate. But he's having a 3.3 second gap to Mindful Wasp. Serge around the outside. He's having the inside line right now. And he's going to make that move on Energy Dan. Although Energy Dan with a dive bomb, as he will be taking a B5 right now. These two have had incidents after incidents, week in, week out. So I do know that these two are quite frustrated with each other but it seems like everything is happening quite a nice on track right now. Energy Dan, who's frustrated every now and then, kind of shows that to Surge too. Surge just says, keep yourself down, you're supposed to be an admin and you're showing this kind of behavior. I'm not going to choose any sides here, but in my opinion, one of the two is right. I'm not going to say any names. But yeah, I mean, Energy Dan and Surge, for what I'm looking at it right now, they're keeping it clean, they're keeping a good sportsmanship-like behavior, and that's what we like to see here in Speed Force Racing. Now, Energy Dan, he's right behind Surge, he's not going to be able to keep the toe, although will he be able to? DRS wide open for the Mercedes driver. I think he's running a controller, I'm not 100% sure, but what I can see, he's actually getting overtaken by Calvin Racing. Calvin Racing, oh, he gets... Oh, that was really, really close for the Alfa Romeo driver there. He kind of got closed in. He had that Mercedes driver right on his right, and he had the Alpine driver right in front of him, so he had nowhere to go, as it is going to be Calvin Racing struggling to get past Surge right now, while he had to be in front of Energy Dan. So, in all honesty, that was well racing from Energy Dan. They're closing in the Alfa Romeo driver, and nothing Surge could have done, because he didn't have the DRS there. So what is Calvin Racing going to be able to do? 5/10, although he's getting pushed from behind. Bossy Gaming in P8 as the Haas driver is right behind Calvin Racing. Will he be able to make that move anytime soon? There's still 16 more laps to come. Dan on wheel. Oh, apparently Dan is on wheel. I didn't know that. All right. Surge right behind Energy Dan. It looked like it was kind of stiff. How he... I don't know, how he steered and all that kind of stuff. It looked kind of stiff. Keith, who's making up a position to Noldus, and Noldus losing another position. I want to have a quick look with the position change. 7 positions lost already for Noldus, as we're having a heated battle between Calvin Racing, Surge, and Energy Dan right now. Calvin Racing might be able to get back into the top 5. As will he be able to? Yes, indeed he will, with the use of DRS, and so will Surge. Energy Dan is going to be defending the inside line, but he was a little bit too late. Surge will be taking P6 for now, and Energy Dan in P5. Although they're still having a heated battle, there's no contact between the two once again, and this is not something that is very easy into turn 1. People tend to go a little bit too deep, tend to go a little bit too wide, and that is usually going to cause a collision. But these two have been going through turn 1 in a couple of laps already, and they've kept it clean for now. But it seems like Energy Dan is struggling to keep the toe of Surge, and Calvin Racing has just driven off. And there's a 1 second gap between Mansell and Utkar, so Mansell definitely has the pace here tonight. But will he be able to keep that pace on track, or will he be losing concentration pretty soon? There's still 15 more laps to go. Seems like Bossa Gaming is looking to make a move around the outside of Energy Dan. And where is Mindful Wasp? He's in P4, 7/10s behind the Wasp, behind the Bear. So we might be looking at a move from the Mercedes driver anytime soon. Not too sure what the tires are looking like. Both drivers on medium tires. And what will Noldus be able to do in P9 right now? He makes that move on Keith once again. And he's looking to make a move on Bossy Gaming too. But it doesn't look like it's happening anytime soon. Keith, who's more busy battling his teammate than helping his teammate. Noldus, who's now going around the outside of Bossy Gaming. And it seems like that's going to be moved on. Both drivers not having a lot of ERS left. And Keith finds himself stuck right behind Bossy Gaming and Noldus. Bossy Gaming, who doesn't leave too much space for the Williams driver. There's contact between both Williams driver, and that will be possibly a safety car. I'm not 100% sure. Bossy Gaming, who went into the wall there. Nothing he could have done. There was a Williams down the inside. There was a Williams around the outside. And he just got sandwiched in a Williams sandwich, of course. Not something you want to be stuck in. Surge right behind Energy Dan. As a 2:10 difference between the two. And what will Energy Dan be able to do? I mean, he's got a 1.8 second gap to Calvin Racing. He's possibly going to get overtaken by Surge once again. And I really wonder if these two are going to be continuing their arguments in chat. Although after tonight's race, I do think they have to agree with each other that they can race clean. I'm not too sure what happened previous races, but it seems like it was quite chaotic, quite aggressive. But for now, from all the things I've seen, they have performed some pretty decent racing here, as they're both keeping it clean. Surge, who's having a little bit of a snap there, takes a lot of grip on the exit, and Energy Dan will have the DRS, so this will be a move done by the Mercedes driver. A couple of guys coming into the pits. That is going to be the Bear and Mansell, as Utkarsh now retakes the lead. Mindful Wasp in P2. We've got Calvin racing in P3. The guys at the back of the grid are not going to be making the move anytime soon, but we do have the V car around the outside of Noldus here. Noldus is currently in P6 with a penalty though, so we might want to focus on the penalties real quick, as we've got a 3-second for Calvin Racing, a 5-second for Noldus, a 3-second for Keith, and a 3-second for Wiggles. And then at the back of the grid, we've got a 3 seconds for Aceman and Adams. Now, Noldus is doing his best to keep the V car right behind him, but I do have to say the AlphaTauri driver being pretty close to Noldus might give him a little bit of nerves and make him make a mistake. But I'm not too sure if he's actually going to be able to. Then it's need to work together to use the DRS to gain back on the guys ahead. Thanks, Justin. Really appreciate it. So Surge right now on the tail of Energy Dan, and I do have to say, I do have to agree with Martin here. We've got Surge and Energy Dan who are actually battling with each other rather than working together to get back to Calvin Racing and Mindful Wasp. But I don't think these guys care. Oh, and there goes Energy Dan into the wall. I do have to say, there was no tap from Surge there before he went into the wall. I think he just touched it right after that spin from the Mercedes driver. But apart from that, we have seen some good racing from each other. So now Surge can push a little bit. Energy Dan with the 5-second time penalty, speeding in the pit lane. And will he be retiring from the race? I'm not 100% sure. Usually when we see these kind of incidents, drivers tend to come into the pits, get a speeding in the pit lane, and then just retire from the race because they've got that 5-second time penalty, they've got a broken front wing, and all they can hope for right now is a safety car or a virtual safety car. Now the V car in P6 right behind Noldus. Noldus, I do have to say, looking at the position changes, he was all the way in P10 earlier and currently in P6. Maggi with a 3-second time penalty, as there's a lot of time penalties right now, and the guys usually in Monza, they tend to lose a little bit of concentration, get a few more track warnings, and that's where you lose a lot of positions, especially on tracks like Monza where you're not really able to gain too much time. The dreaded spin at Parabolica, yes indeed. It's always the same, The Bear now retakes P9. We want to have a quick look with the tires real quick. So we've got a couple of guys on fresh tires. Mansell, who's on medium tires. We've got the Bear on hard tires, as his tires will be better at the end of the race. But I do have to say, Mansell choosing medium tires, he's probably going to be winning this race. Makes that move on Keith, who's coming into the pits right now. 12-lap-old hards for the Williams driver. And what tire will he be going on right now? Will it be mediums or will it be softs? The question too is going to be, seems like these guys are having a battle. Noldus defending the P5. But I want to have a quick look. There goes the V car down the inside into turn 3, and that will be moved on. Both drivers on quite old tires. We've got 15-lap-old hards for Noldus and 13-lap-old mediums for the V car. Noldus is looking to make a move there. A little bit of contact, and that will be a 3-second time penalty for Noldus. I think he missed his braking point right there, and unfortunately loses a little bit of time, almost out of the DRS second. And will he be able to climb back? I do think he has the DRS still. Yes, indeed he does. So he was right within the DRS second. And let's have a quick look with the gap to the leader. So the Bear, no, Mansell is the only one, well, is the first one who is on the freshest tires. So he's going to be on 2-lap-old mediums, and he's 19 seconds behind Utkarsh. Now, I'm not 100% sure how long a safety car stop takes here in Monza, but I think it's about 22 seconds if I'm not mistaken. So that way Utkarsh will be going on soft at the end of the race. So we will be seeing Utkarsh possibly fighting for the race win here if he doesn't stay out too long. 5-second time penalty for Noldus as he just came into the pits, possibly going on to soft tires. But it also depends on how much traffic Mansell will be having here. As things are looking like right now, it seems like he's going to be having a little bit of traffic, which is not great. He's right behind the V car and he's gaining. He's gaining rather fast. As I mean, a 1.5 second gap is like this. It's gone like this, and I mean, especially on soft tire, on medium tires compared to old hard or mediums, which the V car is running. We've got a 3-way battle for P14 here as Mr. Wiggles loses another position. The Red Bull driver goes down the inside. Aceman backs out of the move, and Adams now in P14. He has taken that position, although he's on 9-lap-old softs. So will he be able to stretch those softs until the end of the race? I don't think so. He still has to come into the pits. Utkarsh needs to cover, cover the bear. Not too sure what you mean, buddy. As you can see right now, 3-second time penalty for key 2. That is not great. Let's have a quick look. Yeah, we might want to switch to the tires again. So Mansell now right behind the V car, and he's going to be able to make that move. With the use of the RS, that is going to be easy move. He could have even outbraked the AlphaTauri driver, which was going to be very, very easy. Now Mansell down the inside, that will be moved on. The V car is looking to make that move back. Aggressive move there from the AlphaTauri driver, and he's going to leave the Ferrari driver past again. He wanted to stall as much time because I feel like the V car and Utkarsh know each other quite well. And this might have been a little intra-communication between the admin team. Utkarsh, who's currently in P1, and might have given to be ahead of needs to pit. Oh, needs to pit. I sometimes I cannot see the last word because there's a heart. My apologies, buddies. My apologies. I thought there was just Utkarsh needs to cover the bear, so I thought, what is he saying? Serge, who's making that move on Doran, who's on fresh, soft. So watch out for Serge, because he will be able to get back to Mark Huerti and also maybe to the bear, depending on how many time he gains each lap. Utkarsh is coming into the pits. Utkarsh is coming into the pits. Where will he end? We've got Calvin Racing not coming into the pits. No, he is indeed coming into the pits. He is indeed coming into the pits. So we've got Mansell coming around the last corner already. This is going to be a big, big gap for Mansell. This is beautifully done from the Ferrari driver. Beautiful execution. And he will have a 6-second gap. Maybe 6 seconds. I do think it's 6 seconds. 7 seconds. What a gap for Mansell. And Mindful Wasp is now leading the race once again. And I'm pretty sure he's not going to be able to stretch these mediums until the end of the race, because he still needs to come into the pits, unfortunately. Otherwise, he definitely would have been able to, though. He definitely would have been able to. But I'm not too sure if he was going to be making the same mistake as last week. Now, Calvin racing around the outside of the AlphaTauri driver. He's making that move done. And he makes it look very, very easy. Around turn 3, the outside line. And then you have the inside line into turn 4. He is on fresh, but very fresh, soft tires. And he might be able to get into the top 4 still. Depends on how many time he gains on the bear. 8.4 seconds is the time that he needs to gain on the bear here. 5-lap-old hearts, he might be able to, though. I mean, he does have that penalty, but still, Serge making that move on Mark Huerti. And Mark Huerti is actually not where he is supposed to be. Mindful Wasp now coming into the pits. He's possibly going on to those soft tires for 7 more laps on those softs. Actually 8, if you think about it. So he's going for... Did he choose mediums? Did he choose mediums there? No, he's going for softs. He's going for softs. And actually, I think Monza is one of the only tracks where you're going to be able to choose a medium soft strategy. And I feel like Mansell v Utkarsh for the win, I think, assuming there's no safety car. In all honesty, I don't think Utkarsh will be able to gain that much time on Mansell. Mansell has just been so strong on those softs earlier, now currently on the medium tires, and I feel like he's got the pace. Those soft tires will be slower. Well, ratio-wise, they will be a little bit slower than the mediums at the end of the race, so I'm not too sure if he's going to be able to Serge right behind Mindful Wasp. Will he be able to? Not 100% sure. He is actually not going to be able to. Both drivers running soft tires, and Mindful Wasp. What a crazy race once again. Started the sprint race in P19 and currently finds himself in a P5. Once again, I do have to give him fair. 5-lap fresher tires should be OP though. Yeah, I mean, yes and no. Because if you then compare 6-lap-old softs with 11-lap-old mediums, what do you think is going to be better, right? I do think the softs will still be better, but the ratio will be worse, if you get what I mean. Why am I actually always in this POV mode? I don't like it. I like this way more to commentate on. So Search right now, 310s behind Mindful Wasp. Will he be able to make that move? He's got the DRS though. He's got the DRS, but so does Mindful Wasp. It's not going to be enough. And Calvin Racing, he's going to be losing 2 positions. Opido. What is that? Oh, ha, ha, ha. Ha, 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 guys. Ha, ha. In the chat. Opido. Yeah. In all honesty, the raw pace of Utkar's at the beginning of the race was more impressive than the pace right now. But I do have to say, in 1.5 laps, he has gained 1.5 seconds. So we need to take a closer look at that. Mindful Wasp now behind Calvin Racing. And will he be able to make that move? He will be, but not quite there yet. He will be able to make that move into turn 1 with the use of DRS coming out of turn 11. Right now, running those soft tires. 1 lap old soft tires can do the job. It can do the job, and it will be. I mean, he's going to get a P4 anyway. He's going to get a P4 anyway, because Calvin Racing now has that penalty. He's going to make a move down the inside. He's crashing out the Alfa Romeo driver. He needs to watch out, and he pushes him wide. Calvin Racing into the gravel. As he... Oh, this is really unfortunate. And now Search is going to be running away with that P4, because probably Mindful Wasp is going to get a penalty for that. Or it's going to be deemed a racing incident, but I don't think so. Search is going to back out of the move, as he did know that Mindful Wasp might be able to get a penalty there. 6 more laps to go, as Utkarsh and Mansell are currently already in Sector 2. Safety car. Safety car. No way. This is a safety car. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, no, 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 no. This is not a great thing for Mansell here. As I just want to take a quick look at my phone. Okay. So it's going to be safety car situation. And the question is Mansell going to come into the pits? I'm not 100% sure if he should. He's got a 5-second gap. And if he comes into the pits, he's going to be losing a couple of positions. He's coming into the pits, choosing fresh softs. Yeah, crazy the last few laps indeed. He's coming into the pits. What is Utkarsh going to do? Of course he's going to stay out. When the safety car comes out again, we are going to be in lap 25. And the bear comes into the pits. What is Mindful Wasp going to do? Is he coming into the pits? He's not going to. Neither is Search. What is Calvin Racing going to do? He's not going to come into the pits. So a lot of position losses for Mansell. He stays ahead of Calvin Racing. Does he though? Yes, he does. Matt G is going to be in P6. We've got Keith in P7. The Bear only in P9. That is so unfortunate. So we've got Mansell Racing currently in P4. Soft tires, fresh soft tires. Will that do the job? That is going to be the question for later. But I'm going to take a quick pit stop myself to the toilet. I will be right back. Alrighty. My apologies, guys. I'm just gonna listen to the live stream real quick to see if the quality is still good, and then we are ready to go. Of course, it's gonna be the 2 last laps of the race, 3 laps actually. So hopefully that is gonna be some great advertisement for the league, of course. All right. So here we are. We are currently entering lap 25 out of 27. So I'm just going to blow my nose real quick and then we will be right back. Ooh, a little bit of toxicity between the drivers in the chat. It doesn't seem like the safety car is coming in yet. Doesn't seem like it's coming in yet. Adams, who is in P16, he has DNF'd unfortunately, so he's not going to be finishing this race in points. Then we've got the Red Bull driver, Noldus. Where is Noldus? He's coming into the pits. Or did Adams crash out? I thought it was Adams in the pits, but actually it isn't Adams in the pits. It's going to be Noldus. What a race he had. Qualified in P1. Currently back of the grid. How things can change, right? So we're going to be having the last 2 laps of the race. And in all fairness, I'm gonna make a bold statement here. I don't think Mansell has what it takes. 2-lap-old softs compared to 5-lap-old softs. Mindful Wasp, he's got the pace. Surge isn't gonna let through Mansell for free. Neither is Mindful Wasp and neither is Utkar. So in 2 laps he needs to overtake 3 people. And possibly the 3 worst people to overtake right now. Surge has been in a race, in a battle all day, so he's ready to battle. Mindful Wasp is doing another comeback race from P19 to P2 right now. And Utkar, he's been leading the race, whole race, so I don't think anyone is going to be willing to give up a position. This is definitely a sit back and watch them all crash each other out scenario. Yes, indeed he is. Yes, indeed he is. Alright, so safety car coming in this lap. I just drank 3 bottles of water just because it's a very exciting race. Alright, so 2 more laps to come. We've got Mindful Wasp in the driver's seat for the race win, but also Utkar, Surge, Mansell, and Calvin Racing are waiting for that podium position. And who is going to be winning this race? 2 more laps to go here in Monza in the Speed Force Racing League. It's a league, but they're not calling themselves a league. 3 tenths for Mindful Wasp, 4 tenths for Surge, and 8 tenths for Mansell. Calvin Racing has that penalty though, and it's green flags and go. Here we go. Who's going to be taking the lead? I feel like this is some kind of car scenario where there's 3 people battling for the Piston Cup. Mindful Wasp right now on the tail of Utkars, and it's looking like he's also already going to be able to make that move. Into turn 1. Utkars out, breaks himself, as it is going to be Mindful Wasp having a heated battle with the Haas driver. There goes Mindful Wasp, and it is going to be a contact with a Mindful Wasp and Utkars, which made Mindful Wasp crash. Go onto the gravel and kind of lose a little bit of time there. We've got Surge taking P2. Calvin Racing now down the inside of Calvin Racing. Calvin Racing down the inside of Calvin Racing. That doesn't make too much sense. Surge is still defending this position from Mindful Wasp, and I do know that Mindful Wasp wants to have some comeback. He wants to have some comeback. We've got Mansell in P3. Lost the position to Calvin Racing. And Calvin Racing on the tail of Surge right now. Mindful Wasp 1.4 seconds behind Utkars. It's not going to be worth it. Mansell pretty close to Calvin Racing. He's not going to be able to. And Calvin Racing with another 3-second time penalty. It's just the survival of the fittest here. And the fittest are the guys who are not going to be having a penalty. But anything can change in that last lap. The guys who feel the pressure might be able to get a track warning. And that might be their last track warning they're able to get. As usually that is going to be the case. Mindful Wasp A10s behind Utkarsh. He doesn't have the DRS, does he? No, he doesn't, because the safety car hasn't been in for 3 laps already. So Mindful Wasp is definitely draining all of his ERS right now. 7/10s behind Utkarsh, and he wants a comeback race. He wants to get that last to first race here in Monza. Monza is a very prestigious Grand Prix. And usually the guys who are going to be winning the Monza Grand Prix feel a lot of glory in their veins. We've got Calvin Racing right behind Mansell, but the main battle to be going on is Utkarsh versus a Mindful Wasp, who is going to be running away with that race win. For now, it looked like that's going to be Utkarsh, who is about 5-6 tenths ahead of Mindful Wasp. But I do have to say, maybe Utkarsh is going to get a penalty for that turn 1 incident with the Mercedes driver. So we do have to see that later. I do have to say, it was some pretty darn hard racing, but I don't think it's worth a penalty, to be honest. Mansell is trying to get past Serge still, and he might be able to, going around the outside. Serge, who had a little bit of an awkward exit coming through that corner. Mindful Wasp, who's still right behind Utkarsh. He's still right behind Utkarsh with a good exit coming through this corner. He might be able to make that move work. He's not going to, unfortunately, with a little bit of slipstream. That is going to be a 1/10 difference. Mansell takes P3, and Serge is going to be happy with a P4. Calvin Racing probably gets pushed back to P6, if I'm not mistaken. Depends. Yes, Bossy Gaming takes P5. The V-Car takes P6. Calvin Racing takes P7. Aceman in P8. Keat in P9. Mr. Wiggles with once again another depressing race in P10, after he gave up that position last week, where he had the race win in his bag, and unfortunately lost that position again. Maggi holding on really well on those mediums. Yes, he's doing a mad job. Should have had what? Ah, that little hard. It's bad. Yep, jinxed him there. All right, so we are just going to go over to the standings real quick. Well, the race results, of course, there we go. So we've got Utkarsh in P1 taking the race win for now. But will he get a penalty after that incident with a Mindful Wasp? That is for you guys to watch in the standings. Of course, we've got Mindful Wasp with a provisional P2 and Mansell with a provisional P3. Further, we've got Serge, Bossy Gaming, the V-Car, Calvin Racing, Aceman, Keat, and Mr. Wiggles to finish off the top 10. Further, we've got The Bear, Mark Qwerty, Maggi, Energy Dan, Doran, Noldus, who actually had a DNF. We've got Adams, who's had a DNF, British Guy, and Need for Speed, also both having a DNF. So 4 drivers with a DNF, 2 drivers who didn't finish those 27 laps, and all the rest of the grid did finish their 27 laps. Fastest lap goes to Mindful Wasp, and my driver of the day once again goes to Mindful Wasp. He came from, I mean, Bossy Gaming also had a pretty amazing race, but overall, the weekend, I do have to give it to Mindful Wasp. He went from 19 to P2, maybe even to a race win, but we will be waiting for that. So I'm just going to go to the back of the grid again for you admins to be able to see it. And I'm just going to check out the Wi-Fi. So I had 0 frame drops frames. That is amazing. That is amazing. All right, guys, I'm going to be finishing off the stream here. Hopefully you guys liked it. I definitely did like it. It was actually quite of a fun race, to be honest. Thank you very much, Martin. Appreciate it. Always appreciate you guys complimenting the stream. So I'm gonna be there next week, hopefully, if I'm gonna be on time. I do think it is. And this is gonna be me over. So my name is Phoebe Thomas. Make sure to check out my YouTube, my TikTok. Don't worry about the TikTok. I don't post anything on TikTok. I actually don't have the app anymore. So make sure to check out the YouTube, the Twitch, as I will be streaming weekly for other races. And then, of course, you will be seeing me here on Monday for the Speed Force Racing. So I would like to thank you guys for watching the race. Hope you guys liked it. Hope the quality of the stream was fine. The microphone quality was fine. And I will see you guys next week. This was Phoebe Thomas as your commentator. Peace out.